Hello everyone and welcome to the new session of the biology lecture series, and today we'll be discussing the topic excretion. Okay, so this is chapter which is included in the class 10th science book. So let's start with this chapter. So I would like to mention with that in this chapter we'll be first studying about the excretion. What is excretion? So initially I will give you a brief introduction about the excretion. Then we'll be discussing about the structure of a typical nephridium. Okay, and then in later lectures we'll be discuss about the human excretory system and the organs that are involved in the excretion. So let's start with today's lecture. So there are various metabolic activities which take place inside the living organism, and all these metabolic activities, what they require? They require enzymes. Okay, so metabolic activities means the metabolism. And what does metabolism involve? It involves both catabolism and anabolism. Okay, the first is the anabolism and second is the catabolism. So metabolism is the combination of both anabolism and catabolism. In anabolism, what happens? The complex molecules are formed from the simpler one, and in catabolism, what happens? Okay, so we can write here in anabolism, from the simple molecules, complex molecules are formed, and in catabolism, complex molecules are broken down into the simpler molecules. So this is known as metabolism, and this metabolism takes place inside all the living organisms. Okay, and this metabolism provides energy to the organism to do various activities. All right, now all these activities means all the metabolic activities, okay, they are called the chemical reactions. Why they are called chemical reaction? Because as I have told you earlier, they require enzymes. So these activities or these reactions are enzymatically controlled. That's why they are known as chemical reactions. So in chemical reaction, what happens? There are some substrate and they combine together to form the products. Now what happens? As a result, in the animal body, due to the metabolic activities in the animal body, several end products are formed which are of no use to the cells. Okay, so I've already told you, in a chemical reaction, there are the substrates. Okay, and these substrate, they combine together and they give rise to the products. And these products are utilized in several other cycles going on in the living organism. But apart from this product, some other products are formed. Okay, or you can say some byproducts are formed. Okay, so along with the products that we need, some other products are also formed that are known as the byproduct, and these products are of no use to the cells. So they are known as the waste product. Okay, so these are called as the waste product and they need to be eliminated out of the body. Otherwise, they can accumulate in the body and it can cause toxicity, and it can also cause various disease in the living organism. So these waste products should be removed from the body for proper functioning of the living organisms. Okay, so this is known as excretion, the removal of the, you can say, the products or the waste product from the body of the living organism. This is known as excretion. Now, how can we define excretion? So simple definition is elimination of these nitrogenous waste compound. So you have to remember this. These waste compounds are nitrogenous in nature, means they are nitrogen containing compounds. So these compounds, if they accumulate in the body, they can be toxic to the body. One of the example of nitrogenous waste product is ammonia, NH3. This is known as ammonia. So if the level of ammonia rises inside the body of the living organism, then it can cause toxicity to that living organism. So these nitrogenous waste has to be eliminated or removed out of the body, and this process is known as excretion. Okay. Some other examples of nitrogen waste is urea. Then we have the uric acid also. So these are some example of nitrogenous waste compounds: urea, uric acid, and ammonia. Here, waste material such as ammonia, uric acid, urea, as well as the carbon dioxide, as well as some pigments such as biliverdin and bilirubin, some salts, okay, and some digestive waste. Okay, after digestion, there is some products left, or you can say the undigested food that has to be eliminated out of the body. Along with it, excess water has to be also eliminated out of the body. So this is known as excretion. And these are all the waste materials: ammonia, urea, uric acid, carbon dioxide. The carbon dioxide is also a waste product. So if carbon dioxide level rises in the blood, then it can also be toxic to the living organism. How is carbon dioxide eliminated out of the body? Through the process of respiration. Okay, through the process of respiration, carbon dioxide is eliminated out of the body. Okay, and some pigments. Some pigments can be biliverdin. Okay, and there are some other pigments known as bilirubin. So these pigments should also be eliminated out of the body. So these pigments are present where? So these pigments are present in the bile. And bile is produced by which organ? Bile is produced by the liver. Okay, some salt should also be removed. Some undigested food should be removed. And excess water should also be removed from the body. And how is excess water removed? It is removed in the form of the urine. Okay. Now, among these waste material, ammonia, urea, uric acid, they are nitrogenous product. This already I have told you. And the excretory products can be either volatile or they can be non-volatile. Now, some of the sources of volatile organic compound. Okay. So I'm writing VOC. VOC is volatile organic compound. So some of the sources of volatile organic compound are sweat. Sweat is the source of the volatile organic compound. Sweat contains a lot of ingredients, and some of the ingredients are volatile. What does volatile means? Means it can change into the gaseous form. So liquid is converted into the gaseous form. Okay. Sweat. Urine also is a source of volatile organic compound. Feces also you can say. Okay, apart from this, skin also is the source of volatile organic compounds. And there are some non-volatile organic compounds also. Okay, such as ammonia and all. Now these waste compounds, they are removed from the body by different methods. So there are different methods for the elimination of these different kinds of waste product. Like I've told you, carbon dioxide is eliminated through respiration. Okay, bile pigments can be removed in the form of feces and through urine. Okay, salts also can be removed through sweat and the urine. Okay, ammonia, urea, uric acid, these all can be removed in the form of feces. Now let's talk about the excretion in amoeba. So amoeba, you already know, amoeba is a unicellular organism. Okay, it is a very primitive organism and it has a very simple structure. It has a very simple organization. So if we talk about the excretion in ammonia, in amoeba, they are known as a monotelic organism. Okay, so excretion in amoeba, you can say, is a monotelism. So amoeba is a monotelic organism since the primary excretory product is ammonia. So ammonia excrete out, amoeba excrete out ammonia. Okay, that's why they are known as a monotelic organisms. So monotelic organisms are those organisms where the principal excretory product is ammonia. Usually, the aquatic organisms, they are a monotelic. Okay, and they release the ammonia in water. So usually, the aquatic organisms, they are a monotelic. Means here the principal excretory product is ammonia and they release the ammonia in the water. Now, special excretory organs are lacking in amoeba. So amoeba doesn't have any specialized excretory organelles and the excretion is done with the help of the contractile vacuole. Okay, so the carbon dioxide as well as the ammonia, they are excreted by the process known as diffusion. Okay, so the waste product, carbon dioxide and the ammonia, okay, with the help of the process known as diffusion. So diffusion, what is diffusion? Movement of the particles from the higher concentration to lower concentration. And this diffusion takes place across the plasma membrane. Okay. Now, the concentration of ammonia should always be is always higher in the amoeba than in the surrounding water. So, for the diffusion to take place, you need a concentration gradient. Okay, then only diffusion will work. For diffusion to occur, you need a concentration gradient. And I've already told you, during diffusion, what happens? The molecules, they travel from the higher concentration to lower concentration. Okay, this is correct. All right, so what happens? The level of ammonia is higher inside the amoeba, whereas the amount of ammonia is less in the surrounding water. So through the process of diffusion, ammonia can be eliminated out of the body. So ammonia moves from higher concentration to lower concentration. Now, ammonia is removed from the body, but what happens? The water enters through the plasma membrane inside the amoeba with the help of process known as endoosmosis. So ammonia and carbon dioxide are eliminated out of the amoeba with the help of the process known as diffusion. But if we talk about the uptake of the water, this uptake of water takes place with the help of the process known as endoosmosis. Okay, so endo means getting inside. Okay, and osmosis, you must be knowing about the process of osmosis. Osmosis means movement of the solvent particles. Here, the solvent particles move from the region of lower concentration of solute to higher concentration of solute. Okay, or you can say from higher concentration of solvent to lower concentration of solvent. Also, you can say from higher concentration of the solvent to lower concentration of the solvent. Okay, now Ammonia is formed in the cytoplasm of the bacteria with the help of the process metabolism. So I've already told you, metabolism includes a lot of chemical reactions that are enzymatically controlled, and during this metabolism, some products are produced which are harmful or which is of no use to the organisms. One of the product is ammonia, okay, that is formed in the cytoplasm of the amoeba, and it is thrown out of the body with the help of the process known as diffusion. Now, what we were talking about the water. So the surplus water, it enters into the contractile vacuole. Okay, so contractile vacuole has a very important role here. All the surplus water is stored in the contractile vacuole. Okay, so what is the function of the contractile vacuole? It maintains the intracellular water balance. Okay, so if we talk about it maintains the intracellular water balance. Okay, clear? Now, this surplus water can ruptures the animal body, so it is later on thrown out of the body of the amoeba. So what happens? The excess water is stored in the contractile vacuole, and then what happens? The contractile vacuole moves to the cell membrane towards the plasma membrane, okay, and then it bursts. Then it releases the surplus water. Okay. Now, thus the size of the contractile vacuole increases when water enters here. When the contractile vacuole is fully expanded with water, it moves towards the periphery. Now, as it comes in close contact with the plasma membrane, the contractile vacuole bursts. Okay, this I've already told you what happens here. Contractile vacuole, when it gets fully filled with the water, it goes to the periphery and then it bursts when it comes in contact with the plasma membrane. Thus, the excess of the water is discharged in the surrounding water, and this phenomena of controlling the amount of water in the body is known as osmoregulation. So what is osmoregulation? Osmoregulation helps to maintain the water balance. Okay, and also it helps to maintain the homeostasis. Okay, it helps to maintain the homeostasis, and it also helps to maintain the water balance. Now let's talk about the excretion in the earthworm. Okay, so in earthworm, what happens? So I'm sure you will be knowing about the excretion in the amoeba. Now let's talk about the excretion in the earthworm. So in earthworm, the excretory organs are known as nephridia. Okay, if you talk about the nephridia, the internal funnel-like opening is known as the nephrostome. Okay, so you have to remember this term, nephrostome. Nephrostome is a funnel-like opening. Okay, so funnel is like this. Okay, so this is known as the nephrostome. Okay, now the waste material from the body cavity, so body cavity is known as the coelom. It enters the nephridium through the nephrostome. So all the waste material, they enter from the coelom, okay, from the body cavity through the nephrostome. Now the inner lining of the nephridium. What happens? The cell absorb the useful substances like the glucose. So glucose and all, which are the useful substances, they are absorbed by the cells which are present in the inner lining of the nephridium. Now, if we talk about the structure of the nephridium, so a typical nephridium consists of three parts. First is the nephrostome. We have already discussed about the nephrostome. Second is the body, and third is the terminal duct. Now we'll study about this nephrostome, body, and the terminal duct. So the nephridium, it communicates with the coelom, which is known as the body cavity, through internal nephrostome. So we have already discussed nephrostome, which is the funnel-like structure. This is connected with the body cavity. Okay, means it communicates with the body cavity. And nephrostome, what is a nephrostome? It is a ciliated funnel which leads into the body of the nephridium. Okay, suppose if this is the funnel shaped nephridium, then it leads to the body. So this is the nephrostome. After nephrostome, we have a body. So it leads into the body. Okay, we'll discuss about the body. Body is also divided into other parts. Now let's talk about the body. So the body of the nephridium, it consists of first a short straight lobe, okay, and a long spiral lobe which has a narrow apical part. Okay, so body is divided into two parts. First is the straight lobe, another one is the spiral lobe, also known as the spiral loop. Okay, now the spiral lobe, it consists of the proximal limb and the distant limb. So the spiral lobe is further divided into proximal limb and the distant limb. Now the neck of the nephridium. So we have a neck also in the nephridium. So this neck of the nephridium, it leads into the proximal part of the spiral lobe. Okay, so spiral lobe we have already discussed consists of the proximal limb and the distant limb. So the neck of the nephridium, it leads into the proximal part of the spiral lobe, and terminal duct leaves the proximal limb. If we talk about the terminal duct, it leaves the proximal limb. Now the tubule of the neck, it enters the body of the nephridium and leaves the body as the terminal duct. Okay, so last was for the terminal duct. Now these tubules have ciliated tracts inside. Okay, the number of the ciliated tracts, they depend on what? They depend upon the number of the coils of the tubules. The terminal duct may open outside by nephridiopore. So there are some nephridiopores present at the end of the terminal duct. Okay, so the terminal duct, it may open outside with the help of the nephridiopore or into the gut. So gut is known as the alimentary canal. So terminal duct can open in outside with through the nephridiopore, or it can open into the gut, which is known as the alimentary canal. So this is the structure of a typical nephridium. Okay. So here you can see in this, all these things have been labeled here. So here you can see nephrostome. We were talking about the nephrostome. The nephrostome was a funnel shaped structure. Okay. And it is connected to the body cavity known as coelom. Nephrostome is also known as the ciliated funnel because it contains the cilia. Alright. Then here you can see the mouth here. After the nephrostome, we have this neck. Okay. So nephrostome, it continues into the neck, and then neck continues into the body. Okay, then you can see the body is divided into the straight lobed and the spiral lobe. Okay, so we have already discussed body was divided into the straight lobe and the spiral lobe, also known as spiral loop. Here you can see this is the inner loop. All right, here is the outer loop. Okay, and then we also discussed about the proximal lip and the distant lip, which is present in the spiral lobe. Okay, spiral lobe, I've already told you, it consists of the distant limb and the proximal limb. Here you can see distant limb of the twisted lobe and the proximal limb of the twisted lobe. So this twisted lobe, this is known as the spiral lobe or the spiral loop. Okay, then here you can see the terminal duct. Okay, in the end we were talking about the terminal duct. Okay, so we already know now that the nephridium, it consists of what? Nephrostome. Here you can see the nephrostome. Then, so you can write about the structure of the nephridium. It consists of the nephrostome. Then second is the neck region. And third is the body. body is divided into the straight lobe and the spiral lobe. And last one was the terminal duct. Okay. Last one was the terminal duct. So this is the typical structure of a nephridium. Okay. Here you can see this is the nephridial tube, and here you can see all the label part. These are the ciliated tracts. We were talking about the ciliated tracts also. So here you can see. Okay, so this nephridium is present in the lower organisms. So in higher organisms such as humans, we have excretory organ known as kidney. Okay, so we'll discuss about that in the later lectures. Okay, so this was about the excretion in amoeba and excretion in organism that contains the organ known as nephridia. Okay. Now let's talk about the functioning of the nephridium. So nephridia are highly vascular, means they contain a lot of blood capillaries, and they extract the nitrogenous waste from the blood. Okay. So they extract the nitrogenous waste. So blood carries all the waste product, and this nephridium, they extract the nitrogenous waste from the blood. Otherwise, if these nitrogenous waste will remain in the blood, it will be toxic to the living organism. So these nitrogenous waste and the useful substance such as the glucose, they enter the body of the nephridium through internal nephrostome. Okay, we have already discussed nephrostome, which was a funnel-shaped structure. So these nitrogenous waste products, they enter into the nephridium with the help of the nephrostome. And this excretory products or the nitrogenous waste product, they are in the form of the fluid. Now the cilia present in the tubule, it beat, which results in the movement of the fluid. Now fluid has to be passed on to the other, you can say, parts of the nephridium such as neck and body. Okay, so cilia. So cilia are present inside the nephridia. It is present inside the tubule. Okay, so tubule was ciliated. So in the diagram we have seen ciliated tubule. With the help of the cilia, this fluid which carries the nitrogenous waste, they move, okay, inside the nephridia, and the useful substances like glucose, they are reabsorbed by the cells, okay, lining the tubule, and is passed into the blood. So along with nitrogen waste, glucose were also absorbed, but this glucose, okay, is again reabsorbed, okay, and then it passes into the blood. Now the remaining waste is discharged into the alimentary canal or to the exterior through the nephridiopore. So nephridiopore, we have already discussed, it was present in the terminal duct. So terminal duct opens with the help of the nephridiopore. Now, according to the position of the nephridia in the body of the earthworm, nephridia are of three types. Okay, so three types of nephridia are present in the earthworm. The earthworm, you know, it is a member of the family Annelida. Okay, Annelida, which are segmented. Okay, so three kinds of nephridia are present based on the position of the nephridia, where nephridia is present. So three types are septal nephridia, second is integumentary nephridia, and third one is pharyngeal nephridia. All right. So first one is the septal nephridia. So septal nephridia, they are attached on the septa. That's why they are known as the septal nephridia. So what is the specialty of, what is the characteristic feature of septal nephridia? Here the nephridiopore is missing. Now the another one is the integumentary nephridia. So these nephridia, they are attached on the inner side of the skin. So word integument, this is related to the skin. Okay. So integumentary nephridia, they are attached on the inner side of the skin. And what is the feature here of the integumentary nephridia? Here the nephridiopore are present. Now let's talk about the pharyngeal nephridia. Pharyngeal nephridia are present as three pairs of group of nephridia on both sides of the alimentary canal. Okay, so they are present as 3 pairs of groups of nephridia. So there are 3 pairs of the pharyngeal nephridia on both sides of the alimentary canal. So 3 pairs are present and they are present in 2 groups, one on each side of the alimentary canal. And what is the feature here of the pharyngeal nephridia? They lack the nephridiopore. Okay, this is clear. Now, the septal and the pharyngeal nephridia. If we talk about the septal and the pharyngeal nephridia, they are endonephric because these open in the alimentary canal. Endo means inside. Okay, that's why they open in the alimentary canal. Whereas the integumentary nephridia, it is ectonephric, means it opens outside. Now, if we talk about the excretion in annelida, it is an adaptation to conserve the water. Okay. Now, earthworm can be ammonotelic, means it can excrete ammonia. So, we have already discussed about the ammonotelic organisms where the primary excretory product is ammonia. Ammonia is NH3. So, earthworm can be ammonotelic if they are present in the sufficient water area. Okay, so I've already told you aquatic organisms such as fishes, such as octopus. Okay, these organisms are ammonotelic. So if earthworm is present in an area where sufficient water is available, then it can excrete ammonia. Okay, but if the earthworm is present in the land, means it is terrestrial. Okay, so in land, not much water is available, then what? It becomes ureotelic. Ureotelic are those organisms which secrete urea or which excrete urea as the nitrogenous waste product. We have already discussed urea, uric acid, and ammonia. These are all nitrogenous waste product. So earthworm can switch either from ammonotelic or it can become ureotelic depending on their habitat or the condition in which they are living. Okay, this is clear. So this was the end of this session. We will discuss rest of the topic in the next lecture. Thank you very much for listening.